Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services, including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices in Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McConnellsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning, Mike.
You know, one of the first challenges that we have in dealing with Medicaid is that people think they can go on the internet, they can look this stuff up, and they can figure out how to do this. Now, if you would look at that thought process versus why you would not take a Maryland case and why I would not take a Pennsylvania case.
Well, the reality is the rules are almost top secret. For whatever reason, Pennsylvania, Maryland, most of the states have made a concerted effort not to broadly broadcast them so people know what they can do. And so anything you see on the internet in many cases is either irrelevant, wrong, old, out of date, and so on.
Or it may be state specific to the state that that person wrote that particular thing in, but because you and I don't cross state lines, it's because the fact is the Maryland application of these rules is completely different than the Pennsylvania application of the Medicaid rules because it's a federal program, state administered.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the feds have made the decision that each state can make up their own rules as long as they stay within the parameters of the federal rules. So that leads to a lot of different outcomes and a lot of confusion for people.
Which really means you read something on an internet and it says this is a solution. Well, the reality is they have nothing to do with what's going on.
Right, and we frequently deal with the issue of, well, my friend or my in-laws in wherever, New York, California did this, why can't I do that? And it's because each state is specific to their unique set of rules.
And the irony is that you and I are both board certified elder law attorneys, and one of the testing requirements is you have to understand that, and we actually had to be able to answer questions about state rules that don't apply to us. For instance, something called income transfer trusts and so forth, which we don't use in either Maryland or Pennsylvania.
Right, and there's some great techniques out there around the country that we can't use, but there's also great techniques we use in Pennsylvania and Maryland that those folks in New York, California can't use.
And so you just can't read something on the internet and think that it applies to what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. That is a trap, and that'll get people in trouble every time.
Now, for years, you and I used to go to Dallas, and they bring in a bunch of top-flight elder law attorneys from all over the country, and we were in a ballroom one night, and the question was asked to the group as a whole, had anyone in that room, the top elder law attorneys in the country, ever written an article for the internet? The place broke out laughing.
Right, it's just so irrelevant because it's not going to apply to us or them or anybody else. And so, there's a difference between this general ability to put your name and elder law on your sign versus really knowing what's going on in your jurisdiction.
And the fact of the matter is not that we hide the information, but for me to post an article on the internet thinking that that would have universal application across the country, other than a few basic federal guidelines, it just has no relevance.
And that's a good point, because in many cases it would actually create more confusion and be a disservice to the public for us to publish something not knowing who's going to read it.
Well, and I oftentimes will have clients ask me if I will write them a letter explaining what we're going to do. Well, and I basically tell them I have to write a book. And by the way, if you change one fact, the entire answer that I wrote would be different now. And so the reality of it is that you have to work with them, you have to try to generally outline it, but realize that what the family came in and told us on the initial intake is almost never what we ultimately have to deal with, because things have occurred that are relevant to the Medicaid process that they don't think is relevant.
Well, that's a good point, because the basis of knowledge for providing and guidance is deep, and it's not just one thing or one set of rules. It's multiple layers of rules that you have to understand in order to service that client.
You know, I ask a parent, have you made any gifts? They say, no, I've not made any gifts. Well, they don't realize that, you know, buying that grandchild a car was a gift for Medicaid purposes.
Absolutely. And so all those little nuances, which normally families do, have meaning in the Medicaid world. So it's important to get to the facts.
My daughter was in the midst of a divorce. I paid, you know, her money to help support her and her children,
Right.
you know, for a year, you know, in the midst of that divorce. That's a gift, you know. I'm not saying that we may not be able to get around it, but they never viewed it as a gift, but it is for Medicaid purposes.
Right, and people do that stuff all the time. They help out a child with medical expenses, or they pay for a grandchild's education, and as you said, those are gifts that have consequences in the state's eyes.
And sometimes we can get around them, but the fact is that when families walk in and they give us the answers based upon their perceptions of what they have done, oftentimes the answer ends up being a much more complex than the question they thought that was originally being asked, which is, have you made any gifts?
Right, and there's, you know, often confusion too as to saying, well, wait a minute, my CPA said I could do $14,000 a year. Why can't I do X or Y?
That's an annual gift tax exclusion, which is a tax question. It's
Right.
not a Medicaid question. Medicaid in Maryland says technically every check over $100 to a family member is a potential gift.
Wow, they're tough. That's why in Pennsylvania we can do 500, but just why? And so that's an example of rule differences from jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
And of course, as you and I tell people every day, you know, we practice in multiple counties. We practice primarily in 6 counties, and the fact is all of them administer these rules differently.
Absolutely. So you got to know who you're dealing with in that particular jurisdiction and how they're going to look at a particular set of facts in order to service your client.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Double Save Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to a special guest feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various issues which are of importance to the retirement community. With me today is Taylor Oliver, president of Oliver Homes. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate being here.
You know, Taylor, you know, when we look at your company, which of course has been around building homes for a long time.
Yeah, this is our 69th year this year. So the company was started in 1948. We built about a little less than 3,000 new homes now.
And one of the interesting things about it is I remember seeing your father as a very young man, you know, very intent, and your company continues to be very intent on being in the forefront of modern construction techniques.
We really work to do that. I think it's really important that we kind of keep up and we're right there on that edge.
And so, and the interesting thing about it is I know people have had this impression that, you know, Oliver Homes would only build a new home for you, but in reality, you know, you work with families on all types of construction projects.
Primarily we do the single family aspect of that, but we've also gotten, so we do some of that remodel type thing. We do a lot of different little innovative type things just to particularly within different community areas to provide services for people.
I know you've been community oriented, your family has been for a long time, and so you take that skill set and will sometimes help people redevelop bathrooms to be handicapped accessible, all types of other types of handicapped accessible construction as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of that where we fall into that what they call universal design. Makes it so people can stay in their homes longer with some very minimal type adaptations to do that.
And of course, when you have those, sometimes in the kitchen or those faucets in which all the, are in the back, a person, who's on a wheelchair or walker may have a tough time accessing them, and just a little bit of adjustment makes them a lot more usable.
Well, there's a lot of things that people can do. They can go from, that 2-lever faucet to that single-lever faucet type thing. They can just switch the knobs out to just the lever lock sets, and it's a lot simpler. It's easier for people to use and to maintain.
Now we're in the winter season. I know that you just, you're here today really as a public service to talk about what people need to do in order to protect themselves. So we're going to have Director Greg pull up some pictures here. So, well, I see one of these in the summer all the time, but should it change between the summer and the winter?
Well, the biggest thing people need to do in the winter with their faucet is they just need to turn them off. They need to turn them off from the inside, open that valve off on the outside. Some are frost-free, but this is ideal. Just turn that faucet off and disconnect your hose.
And what people don't realize is homeowners policies do not cover flood, and if you made a mistake and you have a broken pipe, you've got a hell of an expense on your hands.
Yeah, they're going to have some issues. Here we talk about just cleaning your gutters out. It allows that rain, snow, melt to go down rather than being clogged up there, and then you get this ice dam effect. If you don't clean your gutter out, you're going to get ice there. It's going to build back up into your eaves area, and you're going to wind up having water coming into your house.
And ice is a very powerful destructive tool in that it will break pipes, it will break gutters, it will get into brick and so forth and destroy.
Absolutely,
and crack.
It is phenomenal that way. Here's another just a simple little feature here where somebody can come along and do some caulking around their windows, caulking around their doors. It's very inexpensive to do, but it's the return on that is astronomical. It just keeps that air coming in right outside, from the outside into your house.
And not only return, comfort.
Correct, that's absolutely the case. Same here with this paddle fan here. In the winter, they need to reverse the spin of that paddle fan so that they can sit there and have that warm air come down rather than blowing cold air down on them.
All right, so really not much to it. You didn't realize it had 2 switches on it. You need to use both of them.
That's right. Same thing here is just a programmable thermostat. I figure on a programmable thermostat, the cost return is about a year or a year and a half, where it automatically sets your temperature back at night and it programs it back up in the morning, so it'll be nice and warm in the morning for you. So
and of course, and there's other things, that are very simple. You can do, most of these older houses did not insulate around electrical outlets, light switches, and so forth. It's very simple to go back in and do some insulation there.
Absolutely. All they have to do is go down to one of the stores, buy some of the little foam insulation gaskets, pop that electrical receptacle off, put it in, screw it back in.
Just a little plate, and put it back in, and it'll seal that up.
Just
and all
need
of a sudden,
a regular screwdriver, and that's all.
And it's surprisingly inexpensive, but surprisingly effective.
Yes, it is, absolutely.
And then, of course, you can do the more advanced stuff, like going up into the attic and so forth, and the kind of, R factors that were used 30, 40 years ago would be considered totally inadequate today.
They absolutely would. What I see put in houses today is dramatically improved over what was ever done years ago.
And some of those urban myths that it somehow reduces, the airflow and moisture and so forth, is just that a myth.
No, absolutely. If somebody wants to, the easiest way to do that is just to add additional insulation in your attic. It's the #1 thing for people to do if they really want to. There's a little bit of some dollars involved in that, but that's the #1 place they're going to save some money.
Taylor's Eyes, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquility at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquility, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquility at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Dad, there's the big one. There's the big one. Just wait. There's the monster. Just one more bid on hurleyauctions.com. I got it.
If you haven't visited hurleyauctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at hurleyauctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me is John Deniker, Resident Services Manager, Kensington and Country House Assisted Living in Cumberland. Welcome to the show, John.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, John, I love the Kensington. It's one of the coolest places that I deal with in terms of our practice area. In fact, to just yammer about it without bringing up a picture wouldn't be beneficial. So we'll ask Director Greg to pull up some pictures here. But most of the time you think of modern sterile facilities, and the Kensington is actually a redevelopment of the old Algonquin Hotel.
Yes, it was built in 1926, the upper end of Baltimore Street in Cumberland, Maryland, and we've kept a lot of the historical charm, but it's modern as well.
So when you walk out and you make a left, you can look right down Baltimore Street, all the downtown block that was closed off to traffic, and you can walk right over there.
Yes, it's a very easy walk, and our activities people take residence a lot of times down there.
And one of the cool things about it is because it was a hotel, it's no cookie cutters. You have all kinds of different size rooms and multiple rooms, places for husband and wife, down to small studios.
Yes, we do. There's a variety of rooms. We welcome couples, and the spaces for the couples is large enough.
Now, I love this, the dining room, left over from the old hotel.
Yes, the dining room's beautiful. We serve restaurant style, lots of choices, and it's all home cooked food. There's very little processed food.
That's really cool, and it's elegant. And of course, this is in the back.
Yes, that's our patio off to the side. It's a secluded area, and we do a lot of things out there. Campfires in the summertime. We do family carnival, picnics, band concerts, you name it.
And you provide transportation.
We do. We have 5 vehicles, and they're on the road most of the time every day, so we can get you where you need to be.
So doctor's appointments, I'm sure you arrange shopping and so forth.
They do shopping trips and any kind of personal transports.
And of course there's some downtown events from time to time as well.
There are, and we participate in most of the downtown events.
Now this is in the back of the building, and what's that?
That is our country house. It is a 22-bed secured memory care. So for people with Alzheimer's, dementia, provides a nice home-like but secure environment.
And because there's not a lot of facilities in Western Maryland, yours is fairly unique in the Cumberland area in that you could have a husband and wife with differing needs. One spouse is able to be independent, the other spouse needs to be in the dementia unit, and they're right there next door to each other.
Yeah, just across the parking lot. So.
All right, and it is a double lockdown secure facility.
Yes, it is.
All right, now obviously people worry about costs, but the reality is most people don't realize maintaining a house is a very expensive proposition, and most people with housing, a little bit of retirement, actually are surprised to find they can afford this.
Oh, it's very affordable when you figure in all your housing costs, and then if you have to have sitters in with you in your home, that jumps it up quite a bit, where here it's all your utilities are included, meals, housekeeping, laundry, everything.
And of course, you're a medically supervised facility, so you're able to take care of any medication management, any dietary needs.
Yes, we're licensed by the state. We have nurses on duty. We have med techs and caregivers. So.
And probably just the coolest thing about it is that I've been in there at dinner time, and it's just like being in a busy hotel as people are coming and going and heading to the dining room and so forth. And the activity there is very social, and you can see that people are having a lot of fun.
Yes, I mean, we want people to continue living and living their lives to to the fullest, and that's what we try to strive for.
So if a person wanted to come visit, how do they go about it?
You can come in anytime and visit. You can call me or any of the other people that are there, and we'll be happy to set up a tour, bring you in for lunch, attend one of our activities.
Let's have a little quick mini competency test here. Remember that phone number?
Yes, it's 301-777-8800.
And so we encourage people, particularly in Western Maryland, there's not a lot of dementia facilities, so if a family is struggling with dementia, you represent an excellent opportunity for them to address that as well.
Yes, we do, and it gives people a very normal quality of life.
John, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
The Community Foundation continues to create great impact in Frederick County, thanks to generous donors. As our community evolves, so do we. While we don't have a real crystal ball that can predict the future, we are poised and ready to see things differently and help nonprofits, city and county agencies, civic groups, faith-based organizations, businesses, families, and individuals to solve problems within our community.
Albright, Crumbacker, Mal and Idtel are a full-service firm that provides elder care services including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Paul Sweeney, President of Quality First Insurance. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Good morning, Mike.
You know, Paul, you and I have been big proponents of long-term care insurance for a very long time.
Yep, the first long-term care policy I sold, I believe, was back in 1987, so that's 30 years now.
And part of the reason we're big proponents of it is the government is still continuously trying to find ways to get out of the long-term care business or reduce their exposure.
Exactly, and a long-term care policy gives you many, many options. Gives you the ability to go to other resources to prevent going to the nursing home.
And you know, obviously some of our viewership is going to find it prohibitively expensive, but one of the problems that we have with some of our viewership is they do have policies and they really don't understand what their policy covers. So for instance, they will see nursing home and they will say, well, that doesn't mean it won't cover for assisted living.
Right, and policies have evolved over the years. The first policy, like I told you, I sold was in 1987, 30 years ago. They were pretty much designed to pay for nursing home care and specifically said they would cover nursing home care. But over the years, over the last 30 years, those policies have evolved and added extra benefits. They pay not only for nursing homes, they pay for home health care, they'll pay for assisted living, they'll pay for adult daycare as well.
But interestingly enough, those old policies that did not say assisted living defined what a facility was. 7 by 24 medically supervised care. Well, you know, 30 years ago, that wasn't an assisted living. It was oftentimes and licensed, and it was, you know, Maryland facilities were only licensed in the last 15 years. They weren't medically supervised. But today, those facilities fit the exact definition of what was defined as a nursing home 30 years ago.
They sure do, and even though the policy may specifically say that it's designed to cover nursing home care, most of those older policies had a feature built right into the policy that would allow the policy to pay for other types of care. Even though it may not be written in that it's going to cover assisted living, there's probably something in those older contracts called an alternative care rider. And if you have an alternative care rider, that's a great feature.
And one of the things that we tell people is, you know, if you think you might have a claim, don't just, you know, read the contract yourself. Get some expert help to help you assist you with that.
Right, we do that all the time, I can't tell you how many times we reviewed a policy that somebody said, well, this only pays for nursing home care. And then we found that clause in the policy, and we were able to contact the insurance company, say, listen, you know, assisted living is probably going to be less expensive than paying for the nursing home. This feature in your policy says that we can pay for something as an alternative to nursing home care, so would you consider paying for assisted living? And most of the time the insurance company will say yes, because it's less expensive.
And so you'll help families with that. And you know, part of it is you built your business as a service business and you realize maybe I don't make anything on this particular phone conversation, but when you show people that you're committed to taking care of them, it'll take care of itself in the long run.
We've been doing this for a very, very long time. We specialize in senior insurance products, so we deal a lot with Medicare supplements, we deal with long-term care insurance, and I know all the ins and outs of a long-term care policy. I understand how they work, and I understand how to get the insurance company to pay benefits.
Yeah, oftentimes when I'm having a client that has trouble, I will have you write the letter. I'll put it on my letterhead so they think that I know what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, I've helped you with a couple of them. It's still, you do look over what I put down.
Right.
So.
But the other thing that we're dealing with right now is there's been premium increases.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who are making a decision to reduce their coverage, and most of the time it makes no sense.
Right, and I'm very concerned about that because there have been rate increases with long-term care policies. And many times when a rate increase happens, the policyholder will get a letter from the insurance company saying that if you want to keep your premium down, you can choose this option, or you can choose this option. There may be 3 or 4 different options they can choose, and most novice people aren't going to understand what those options are. So it doesn't take long to have somebody look at it. I'd be more than happy to look at it and review it. I could look at it within 10 minutes and be able to tell you, what the best option is going to be for you.
And we assist people in that too, but the real point that we're making is oftentimes that will reduce the benefits by 25, 30%. Mm-hmm. And the people don't realize they have money sitting in the savings account. When they choose not to spend it on that premium, they're now trying to save for that additional 25 or 30% risk. It just makes no economic sense.
No, not only that, they're probably much older than when they bought the policy. Obviously, they age. So why would you want to take a benefit away that's probably closer to being reality than it's ever been before? And a lot of people don't like to admit that, but it's not a good idea to reduce benefits on a long-term care policy.
Paul, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just this simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.